I would like to welcome everyone to the Henry County Zoning Advisory Board meeting tonight, May 8th, 2025. I would like to advise all that this meeting is being broadcast live on Spectrum Channel 180 and on the Henry County website. For anyone wishing to speak tonight, a total of 10 minutes will be allowed for anyone wishing to speak in favor and 10 minutes for anyone wishing to speak in opposition. For example, if 10 people wish to speak, they must share the 10-minute slots. For tonight, associated cases that are being presented, a total of 20 minutes will be allowed for anyone wishing to speak in favor and 20 minutes for anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the agenda item, as there are 2 associated cases. We will now hear the invocation by Mr. Kolpak and pledge.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together today. Grant us the wisdom and understanding as we discuss the matters at hand, and help us work together in unity to make the best decisions for this county. And they all said, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get an acceptance of the agenda?
Make a motion to accept the agenda.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries unanimous. Staff, do we have any comments?
Yes, sir. So we have one case that has been withdrawn. That's Comp AM 2404, JNP Synergy LLC of McDonough, Georgia, requesting amendment to the comprehensive plan for property located at 1099 Airline Road and Land Lot 74 of the 7th District. The property consists of 1.605 plus or minus acres, and the request is to amend the future land use map designation from commercial to low density. That is in association with RZ 2418, which will still be heard, but the comp plan has been pulled.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, staff?
No, sir.
Okay, if nothing further, call the first case, please.
BR 2501, Alan and Hermalee Graham of McDonough, Georgia, request a variance for property at 4304 Rolfe Court in Land 249 of the 7th District. The property consists of 0.322 plus or minus acres, and the request is for relief from dimensional standards for accessory structures. District 1.
Good evening, Vice Chair, board members, and citizens of Henry County. The item before you is for property located at 4304 Rolfe Court, and the request is for a variance for relief from dimensional standards of an accessory structure. The subject property is shown in your exhibit books and on the overhead projection. This slide shows the aerial view of the property. The current zoning is PD, planned development, with an underlying PAW designation of R3, single-family residence. This is the site plan submitted by the applicant. This image is a magnifying portion of the site plan, clearly showing the accessory structure encroaching into the rear and side yard setback area. As mentioned earlier, the request is for a variance from development standards within the Unified Land Development Code, or UODC, Table 7.02.01D. Dimensional standards: accessory structures must maintain a minimum setback of 10 feet from the side and rear property lines, as well as from any other structures on the property. The applicant is seeking relief to reduce the required side and rear yard setbacks from 10 feet to 1.2 and 2.9 feet respectively, resulting in an encroachment on the property line. On August 27, 2024, code enforcement received a complaint indicating that the applicant was constructing an accessory structure at the rear of the property without the required permits. In addition, on March 6, 2025, the applicant submitted a building permit request for an addition to the rear of the house without having obtained any permits prior to pouring the concrete slab. These are some photos of the existing accessory structure in the rear yard. This building plan was submitted by the applicant's contractor and illustrates the existing concrete slab, which was installed without obtaining the required permits prior to the pouring. Staff recommends denial as the hardship was self-created by the applicant. Thank you, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Does staff have questions for the county?
Not at this time.
Okay. Well, if not, we'd like the applicant to come forward. Yes, please state your name and address for the record, sir. I'm sorry, will you hold bring that mic up to you?
Yeah, my name is Alan Graham, living at 4304 Ralph Court, McDonough, Georgia, 30252.
Okay. Mr. Graham, do you have anything you'd like to add to staff recommendation?
Well, when I moved here from New York to Georgia, I did not understand or know that there's a HOA and there are certain things to be done. And when I purchased the house, I didn't go through the bank. I purchased it from the realtor, not knowing regarding the HOA situation and stuff that you have to maintain. However, the person that lives beside me was on the HOA board. They submit everything for me. As I said, I don't know about the HOA. So her name is Miss Angelita Smith. She submit everything for me. I have it gotten approved. But the thing is this, I didn't aware that building a shed, I should have maintained a permit. So I'm at your mercy right now. But before I built the shed, I had to build the fence first, which I did, and then started the foundation of the shed via a friend of my mother. And they came out with their tripod and they set it out for me, and they did the foundation. While during that process, I have a leak at the front during storm, and my wife asked me to get a patio bill. I submit that also to the HOA and got approved, and they told me whenever I'm going to start, I should let them know that they can come and take a look. Again, I did not know that I was to actually, at the time, I did not know I have to get a permit because I finished it. I don't know if the HOA came and looked. And so I go back to building the shed. Like each stage I keep doing it. And that's when someone had called on me and said I must, the force encoder said I should have asked for a permit. I said I did not know because I built the front, nobody called, and I didn't know. But I also submit a extension for the back because I have to take my father. He's very sick, so I do submit to file for a permit for the extension to modify the main house. If I had known that I should have get a permit for the shed, I would have done so because I would not want to put myself in this dilemma.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Does the board have questions for the applicant?
No.
Anyone? Okay. Now, you did indicate that you had an HOA.
Yes, we have a HOA, but at the time when I purchased the house, I didn't know about nothing about HOA. Until when I moved there, the neighbor is on the HOA board, so she explained everything to us. and she submit the paperwork for the fence, the shed, everything for me.
Okay.
So
Did she submit the paperwork for?
everything for the shed and the fence, because they told me I have to do the fence first before I do the shed. And before even I do the shed, her husband also showed me where the pegs at, and my other neighbor on my left-hand side showed me where the pegs at, and the guys, they do the fence. So really, I did not actually do things like just out like that. I make sure, and consult my neighbors to see if they could help me, because even the fence, I don't know
So
if I should get a permit.
At that point, no one applied for a permit?
No, sir. I did not apply for a permit because, as I said, I don't know if I have to apply for a permit for the fence or the shed.
Okay. I don't have one. Mr. Vian?
As far as the HOA, I did see a letter in there that they had approved.
2016, yes, sir.
Did you submit plans of what the shed was going to look like and exact placement?
I think at the time I do a diagram of the fence and the shed, yes. Yes. Also, the extension at my house that I'm trying to get the permit as well, I did send a full set to the HOA as well.
Did they say you had to get permits from the county or did not, or they just didn't say anything?
Even if they said on the paper what they sent in the email to my wife, I did not read it. I just know that I got the approval, so I thought I could just go ahead.
And in reading that letter, it looked like there might be a line in there where they said you had the go-ahead, that they would take care of permits and all that. So
Yeah.
depending on how this turns out, you might be able to get something against the HOA for misdirecting you. But, all right, that's all I have.
I got it.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Kolpat.
And the HOA, you went through a Realtor, correct?
Pardon?
You bought a house through a Realtor?
Yes, sir, because
And
at
they
the
were
time-
your agent?
Yes, because when I came here, they do not allow me to purchase a house within 6 months.
Okay.
So the bank would not allow me. But because I paid down on the house, the Realtor gave me the loan to purchase the house from them.
No, I was going to say, they have an obligation to make sure you know it's an HOA, and they also have an obligation to make sure you have the
Yes,
covenant.
they said there's a HOA fee, but to say they, edify me as to what the HOA is all about, I did not get that because my closing was like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So I didn't get no edifying regarding it.
Okay.
But my neighbor, which is Miss Angelita Smith, did give me briefly as to if I need a fence, a shed, I have to submit it and stuff like that. And she did it for me.
Gotcha. And staff, this is just a 10-foot difference?
So it's, okay. So it is encroaching on the setbacks, yes, the 10 feet for the side and rear. Yes, sir.
So if we rule, he could also then talk to the HOA like Don said, or his neighbors?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
What, the HOA, I guess,
Well, in the HOA letter, it looked like they had approved it, that he was all right, but that still doesn't, as far as a problem, is if there was a fire out there, you can't get around. It's, you're trapped, and I'm sure like a fire marshal wouldn't like it that way. But we'll get to those points. We'll discuss this after.
Mr. Richard?
Okay, I guess this is a question for staff. The 40-foot setback line shown on the drawings, that would be the limits for the principal structure, which would be the house. But what is the setback requirements for an accessory structure from the side and rear property lines?
Yes, Mr. Risher. So for accessory structures, in this case, a shed, let's just say a barn, tool shed, et cetera, that would be 10 feet away from the property lines. So 10 feet.
10 feet.
10 feet, yes, sir. And I do want to quickly mention, Board, is that I believe Captain Morrison is not here from the Fire Marshal's Department, but he did mention that he was concerned for the placement of the existing shed or the accessory structure, since going back to Mr. Vim, that was a concern of fire hazard. Just in case if it did catch on fire, it would probably abut to the neighbor's yard, rear yard.
Okay.
And one more question
Mr.
for
Vim.
the applicant. What type of job do you have?
I'm a member of the Atlanta Carpenters Union. I'm also a architect and a contractor. And the 2.9 and 1.2, actually, you could walk around it freely.
But as far as your, the job, are you a contractor?
Yes, sir, but at the time when I came here, I wasn't that, because what happened, I left the Carpenters Union to do my own self-employment because of my daughter is very sickly and I keep losing my job because I have to rush her to the hospital each time her platelets go down low. So I couldn't keep the job, so I have to start something for myself, just in case if I have to take her to the doctor, I can just go.
At your jobs, though, they must have had permits to build whatever you were contracting out there?
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, yes. But what I'm saying, when I just moved from New York here, I was not edified at all about the HOA or what the situation may be regarding a shed or a fence. But to do a structure and stuff like that, I know that you has to do so, which I did submit that to the building department and also did it to the HOA before I even do anything.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. All right. If no further question, you may be seated, sir.
Thank you very much.
At this time, we'd like to allot the remaining time for anyone wishing to speak in favor. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the applicant? Okay, I don't see anyone coming forward. We'd also like to allot 10 minutes for anyone wishing to speak in opposition. Please. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes. My name is Angelita Smith. I live at 4302 Rolfe Court in McDonough. I'm the next door neighbor.
Okay.
Okay. I was listening to Mr. Graham. At the time that he made application for the board, I was actually on the board, and he did make application for a shed, and he made application for a fence. That was in 2016. This structure was built 2024. I did help him because I was on the board to make the application. This is not what he submitted to the board at that time. This is definitely a completely different structure. I know he mentioned my name quite a bit. I did help him, but I don't understand how we go from a shed to a tiny house, to basically say. We've tried to help him along the lines throughout the years with understanding. I'm a realtor as well. As a realtor, when a client buys a house, whether they're renting, lease purchase, we always ensure they understand the HOA. They get a copy of that at closing. So it's kind of their responsibility to inform themselves on the rules and regulations. This was not submitted to us. Unfortunately, none of the older board members are here, but I was hoping some of the current board members would be here tonight. So that's why I wanted to make that clear. So I did help him, but this is not what I helped him to do.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what I wanted to share.
Thank you.
And I live directly next door. That is my fence that you see in the picture to my home.
Thank
my
you.
property. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. We have approximately 8 minutes for anyone else wishing to speak in opposition. I don't see anyone coming forward. Does the board have additional questions for the applicant or staff? Mr. Risher?
Yes, I see that on the subdivision plat that you've given to us with the report, it shows some drainage easements on the rear and sidelines, but I don't see it on this particular property. Do you know why that is, or?
I'm not too sure, Mr. Risher.
I have one question for staff. If this is not approved, what options do the applicant have?
So we can appeal to the Board of Commissioners to, approve it, or they can make the final decision after today. Or if it escalates past that point, he could take it to the Superior Court. But if it gets to the point where the Board of Commissioners denies it and the Superior Court denies it, he would have a certain amount of time where he would have to move the structure and then make sure that it has the proper permits before redoing it.
Okay. I have one question for the applicant. Please come forward. Come again. I have to go back to Mr. VM's statement. Now, you've done construction before.
Yes, sir.
Why didn't you pull a permit?
Okay, as I said again, sir, when I moved from New York to Georgia, right? As I said, I don't know the rules or bylaws regarding a shed. So, as I said, when I did the fence and everything, I did not know that I have to pull a permit for a fence or a shed. As I said, when I was doing the front, I still didn't even pull a permit because I did not know regarding the HOA that I has to do it, and that's the honest truth. And I only designed the shed to depict the house so that, my property can look good. But it is my tool shed. I put my used material and my family personal stuff in there.
Okay,
Go ahead,
one other
sir.
question. Now, the lady that came forward indicates that this is a different project from what the HOA actually approved. Why didn't we go with what you
It's
initially?
not different. It's the size is still the same. If she looks at what she submit, she's gonna see 24 by, because I told her I have a lot of tools and stuff. The only difference is how it looks.
Oh.
I just needed to depict the house. That's all, to make the property looks good. That's all.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Does the board have any additional questions? Okay, you may be seated, sir.
Thank you, sir.
If there's no further questions, we'd like to call the case, please.
VR 2501, Alan and Hermalee Graham of McDonough, Georgia, request a variance for property at 4304 Rolfe Court in land lot 249 of the 7th District. The property consists of .322 plus or minus acres, and the request is for relief from dimensional standards for accessory structures. District 1, presented by Heidi Lyhut, Planner 1.
Okay, we heard the case. Do we have a motion?
I move to deny.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. VM to deny. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Risher. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries, unanimous. All right. Call the next case, please.
CU 2404, Angela Hannon of Hampton, Georgia, requests a conditional use for property located at 2063 Panola Road in land lots 188 and 197 of the 12th District. The property consists of 5.76 plus or minus acres, and the request is for a group home. District 2, presented by Heidi Lyhut, Planner 1.
Good evening again, Vice Chair, board members, and citizens of Henry County. The item before you is for property located at 2063 Panola Road. The request is for a conditional use to allow for a group home. This request was reviewed and approved by the Zoning Advisory Board last year. However, an appeal was filed because there were concerns about how the case was advertised. When it went to the Board of Commissioners, they decided that the request should go back through the approval process or the process that we are here now to make sure all public notice requirements are properly followed. The subject property is shown in your exhibit books and on the overhead projection. This slide shows the aerial view of the property. The current zoning is RA, residential agricultural. This is the survey submitted by the applicant. These are some photos taken yesterday of the subject property. The request is for a conditional use to allow for a group home. A group home is a residence for 2 or more unrelated individuals under the supervision of a resident manager. It serves as traditional housing for those re-entering society from structured institutions, offering support and monitoring to aid reintegration. Group homes do not provide drug or alcohol treatment or serve as alternatives to incarceration. The property was previously used as a single-family home or residence and is currently vacant. Within the Unified Land Development Code, or UODC, Section 4.03.18, it allows group homes to be located within the RA zoning district with an approved conditional use. Group homes must be located on a minimum of 2 acres and cannot be within a subdivision. In this case, the applicant has made some exterior improvements, such as painting the home, but no interior or structural renovations are planned at the moment. Staff recommends approval of the applicant's request for a conditional use with the following conditions that are displayed on the screen. Thank you, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Does the board have any questions for staff? If not, applicant, would you please come forward and state your name and address for the record?
Hello, my name is Angela Hannon, and my address is 120 Wrangell Trail. That's in Hampton.
Okay, what would you like to tell us?
Well, the home is, we plan to use the home for a group home for children that are abused and neglected. The children would be placed by the state of Georgia. We have to comply with all kind of, there are so many rules to comply with as far as keeping children there. There should be no disturbance to any neighbors. This home sits on 5+ acres. And we don't have any neighbors that are directly around us. There's staff that will be there with the children. They're never left alone. They're always supervised.
Anything further? And
Also, this was approved earlier, and we just wanted to make sure, well, you guys are making sure that everyone received notice. So we're just here and hoping for an approval today.
any questions from the board?
Yes, just a quick one, please. Refresh our memory, how many children will live in this home and their ages?
So we have 10, space for 10, and the ages are 12 to 17.
Thank you.
17, and it's 10 kids, Ms. Hannah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Hannah, do you own other group homes?
No, sir. Not at the time, not right now.
Is this your first group home?
No.
Okay. Have you, so at this time, you don't own any other group homes?
I do not own any active group homes. I have one other that we have received our conditional use permit for that one, but it's not open yet. I've been in the group home industry since 2000,
Okay.
and I've owned several group homes and open group homes for other people.
Okay. Is it your intent to maintain this group home for a period of time?
Yes.
Okay, what time frame? What do you expect?
I hope that we own it forever. We don't see any
Now,
limit to the time frame.
One of the conditions in this, if this is approved, is that this property is not to be exchanged names or any other ownership. If so, it would have to come back before this board, even if it's done tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, are you aware of that?
Yes. This is, I intend to maintain the property for myself, not for someone else.
Okay,
I do have a partner in the property.
okay. You have a partner in the property?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Any,
Any further questions?
Mr. Rich?
Mr. Risher?
I might be mistaken, but I thought that you had come before this board probably a couple of years ago and got an approval for a home also on Panola Road. Is that?
It may
one
seem
you're still
like,
working on?
it may seem like years ago, but it was, I think about maybe a year ago. It's the same home. It's not another one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, you're
Mr.
listed
Colbert?
as the owner of it, but is it going to be an LLC? Is it a business name for this group home?
It's a corporation. Yes.
I have one other question, Ms. Hammond. How long have you owned the property?
For about a year.
About a year?
Yes.
That's all I have right
Any
now.
further? Oh,
What are the staffing requirements for the group home? And will they be adhered to?
Yes, the staff requirements is 1 to 5. So it's a 1 to 5 child to staff ratio. Whenever you have more than 5 children, there has to be at least 2 staff. And they will be adhered to.
Thank you.
Okay. I do have another question. Now, how many bedrooms is this property?
There are 5 bedrooms. According to the state, we have room for more, but we didn't want to cram them in. So we stopped at 10.
Okay. And you have a staff there 24 hours?
Yes, it's not the same staff. So there's staff for the morning and staff for the evening.
Okay. That's all.
Okay, any further questions? If not, we will allow 10 minutes for anyone else wishing to speak in favor, and the applicant can sit down for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, it's 8 minutes and 46 seconds left for
Okay.
those in favor.
Okay, 8 minutes and 46 seconds is left for those in favor. Please come up and give us your name and address, please.
Hi, my name's Ann Fields, and my address is 329 Chase Marion Way. I just wanted to speak in favor of programs like this overall for our youth. I was a foster parent in Pennsylvania, and in order to do that properly, you have to have a network. Well, my kids, my adult children are up there. I don't foster here because I don't have that support network, or I would be continuing to be a foster parent in Georgia. I had 8 fosters in 5 years that I fostered there before I moved here. What a wonderful program this will be if it's allowed to happen. Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak in favor? If not, then we'll have 10 minutes for those wishing to speak in opposition of this case. Again, please state your name and address.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Mildred Schmelz, 170 Dink Scott Court, Ellenwood. I am perplexed by the recent approval and our desire to place group homes and personal care homes in the Fairview East Atlanta Road, Northern Henry County area. This area has been bombarded by gas stations and convenience stores and now group homes and personal care homes. I have spoken on this issue before, and I have been in favor of transitional housing, but enough is enough. I am requesting that you vote no on any future personal care homes or group homes in that area. Thank you very much for your service to Henry County.
Good evening. My name is Polly Lawton. I'm at 401 Shade Tree Drive, Stockbridge, Georgia. The applicants say that there are many rules, but the residents have a right to know the rules and the clientele that go in their area. Based on group home, they are deinstitutionalized for people with physical and mental disabilities to come in and to be in a transitional place for a living environment such as a home. Some group homes have hospital settings for people with mental illness, and in the OCGA code, it addressed that. If they have any type of disabilities, they need to have a medical person on staff, and when you get trouble, people coming in because they're coming from an institutionalized setting and need to be deinstitutionalized. There are 2 daycares over in that area. Less than 250 yards of this facilities. There's a park there. Also in the drug-free zone, it states that most states implement that you can't have those type of settings in that area because they don't want to put the children at risk for drug trafficking and sex or human trafficking, which I'm very aware of that working from where I used to work. I'm asking that you will reconsider this. I don't know if she considered the drug-free zone where the schools are located, where the parks are. I know someone said that it is a personal care home or something over there where I go frequent the trike. One evening, I had to vacate the premises because someone with mental challenges was in the park. And I'm asking that y'all reconsider this and vote no for this. The OCGA code that I'm referring to is 111-8-62. And it will lay out everything because what kids that she's got coming from the state, they are going to have some type of challenges, and she needs to know what she's dealing with. Thank you.
Good evening, board members. My name is Karen Jacobs, and I live at 163 Chapel Ridge Drive in Ellenwood, Georgia, in the Chapel Ridge Estates subdivision. Our community is 2 minutes away from this proposed group home. I'm here on behalf of many concerned residents who are deeply invested in the future of our community. Over the past 2 decades, our neighborhood has seen extraordinary growth. Today, we're seeing new construction homes selling for $850,000 and up, nearly more than double what I paid for my home when I purchased it in 2007. Developers and home buyers see the value and future promise of our community. And yet, despite this momentum, the development that continues to appear around us doesn't match that trajectory. We have too many gas stations, too many dollar stores, no coffee houses like a Starbucks, or any lifestyle-oriented businesses. Instead of seeing the growth of a vibrant, modern community, we're watching another set of conditional use applications, this time for a group home, but there's also a personal care home that's on the agenda tonight. But these properties in our neighborhood would move us further from the direction we want to go in. We are not anti-growth. We support growth. We support development, but we want high-quality development, growth that aligns with the upward trajectory of our neighborhood. We are concerned that allowing quasi-institutional uses like this group home so close to homes that are now selling for $850,000 and above not only diminishes that investment, but it sends a signal that our area is open to land uses that more affluent master plan communities would never allow near their residential cores. It suggests that our neighborhood, despite our investment, is being treated as a dumping ground for quasi-institutional uses that don't align with the high quality that's already taking place. We ask the board to reject this application, not out of malice, but out of vision. Please stand with residents who believe our neighborhood is worthy of thoughtful, future-oriented planning, not patchwork land use. We want our community in the northern part of Henry County to develop as Eagles Landing, McDonough, Locust Grove, and other parts of the southern part of Henry County are developing. We want development that is aligned with the properties that our hard work is paying for. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kaylin Santos, and I'm speaking for my father. Dear members of the Zoning Advisory Board, I'm writing to you today with deep concern regarding the proposed group home at 2063 Panola Road, located directly next to my home, 2017 Panola Road. I want to share not just my opposition to this project, but my personal story behind why this neighborhood, this home, and this community means so much to me and my family. I came to this country as an immigrant, determined to build a better life for my family. Like many others, I worked tirelessly, sacrificed, and saved every dollar I could to one day live in a safe, peaceful neighborhood, a place where my children could play freely outside, where we could feel secure, and where we could finally have stability after having so many years of uncertainty. The dream has become a reality when we moved here. This community has become more than just a place to live. It has become a symbol of everything I hope to achieve for my family's future. That is why the proposed group home next door fills me with deep worry and sadness. I fear the safety, peace, and stability we work for so hard to achieve could be jeopardized. I worry about strangers coming and going. I worry about children's ability to play outside safely in our yard. I worry about the unknown impacts on our home, the home that represents our hard-earned American dream. You see, I hope to buy this home for my family and working towards that goal. Please understand, I do not oppose helping those in need. I believe in compassion and support for all people. But our quiet neighborhood is simply not the right place. The decision will affect my family, our safety, and the sense of peace we built here. As a parent, a neighborhood, and someone who came to create a better life for my family, I'm pleading with you to consider the long-term impacts of this facility could have on this area. I respectfully urge to deny the proposal for this group home at this location and to seek alternative site that better balances the needs of all. Please protect safety, stability, and future for our community. Thank you for your time and your thoughtful consideration. Sincerely, Marvin Santos Mendoza. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you did very well for your time.
Yeah.
All right. Does the board have any further questions for applicants or staff?
Yes, I have one additional question for the applicant.
Okay, I have a question.
That's okay.
Okay.
Move forward.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll-
sorry.
when,
Go ahead.
so go ahead.
I have a question for the staff, and you might want to put the zoning map on the board so we can kind of see what's around it. Okay, so it is, it's across the street from a commercial area, apparently. And I just wanted to point that out. And let's see, what is the acreage of this property?
It is,
Let's see, it says 5.76 acres.
yes, that is
according
correct,
to our report.
Mr. Risher.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes. Ms. Hannah, when you purchased the property, were you aware of the usage?
Was I aware of? Yes, sir.
Yes, okay.
sir.
So your intent was to purchase it and start a group home at that point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But, I mean, did you understand that this may or may not be approved?
Yes, I did. The regulations say that we have to have at least 2.5 acres, I think, and it should not be in a subdivision. So I've picked properties that fit that description when I was in my search.
Okay. Nothing further. No.
Just a question. This is Ellenwood, and you live in Hampton.
Yes.
Why, knowing the area, there's some property like this in Hampton. Why wouldn't you want to put it in your neighborhood or your area?
Well, I would love to put it in my house if I could. It's just I ran across this property. It was a good deal, and I thought it would be great, especially with 5 acres. They have some room over there. I didn't find anything in my area that has this much space.
In Hampton?
Yes,
Okay.
I didn't find it.
No, I just, talking with the adjoining neighbors, their concerns. I'm all for foster. And it's a group home, but just your drive to manage this facility, you're going to be, it's a good distance from.
Yeah, it's roughly 18 minutes from my house. We also, I wanted to say, we don't, the population that we serve are not children that are need to be in a mental institution. We don't have that. Our cases are mainly deprivation cases. They come from the Department of Family and Children Services, and a lot of times the parents just can't get it together. They're abused or neglected. But there is a class of children that come from, let's say, where they've been incarcerated for a long time and need reentry. Those are not children that we serve. So.
Any further questions? More?
And for the record, Board, I do just want to go ahead and say a little bit about the Fair Housing Act and the Georgia Fair Housing Law as well. It does prohibit discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, sex, national origin, familial status, or disability. Local governments are not allowed to use zoning or land use policies to exclude individuals with disabilities or to treat them less favorably than others. This includes denying permits or refusing reasonable accommodations needed to ensure equal housing opportunities. While group homes for children are not explicitly protected, any discrimination based on a protected characteristics of the residents will still violate that fair housing laws.
And one question to that, are they allowed in all zoning districts?
The group home?
Yes.
They are allowed in RA, residential agricultural, with that approved conditional use.
Okay. That's an interesting statement with an approved conditional use, but that's based on the board decision.
Yes.
Okay.
And if it was denied here, it would be able to go on to the commissioners at that point
Yes.
for final decision.
Exactly.
Any other questions? In that case, please call the case.
CU 2404, Angela Hannon of Hampton, Georgia, requests a conditional use for property located at 2063 Panola Road and land lot 188 and 197 of the 12th District. The property consists of 5.76 plus or minus acres, and the request is for a group home. District 2, presented by Heidi Lyhut, Planner 1.
Any discussion, well, or I guess a motion first.
Yeah. Well, based on the opposition of the neighbors, I'd like to make a motion that we deny the request for a group home in this area.
Is there a second? No second.
We got a second.
You got a second? No? All right, so any discussion?
Yes, I would like to indicate that initially I felt like this was the area, the size itself is good for a group home. However, the area is just not suitable for it. We have, there's a lot of commercial area around, and also we have neighbors now indicating that this is an impact on their living. So that dictates my decision at this point.
Okay. Any other discussion? In that case, all in favor? 2-4, and then those in opposition? Any votes in opposition? Okay, so
Because we did not achieve a full vote, we can offer a second motion. If there's an alternative motion to approve, you'll ask that next. And at what point if a vote isn't made at that point, we can table the case and bring it back after further discussion at another ZAB date.
Okay.
One other thing, the staff, is that I think we have, what's our vote count? 2-2 or?
It's 2-0 because nobody raised their
Okay.
hand.
You need at least 3 to have a motion.
Okay. And the acting chair has a vote at this point, he breaks the tie.
Yes,
If it's 2-2, so.
That's correct. But a motion has to be made either way. So if someone would have to make another motion for an approval to do the other side of the vote. Now, if it just fails, then I suggest we table the case and bring it back another day. Or this board has the power to deny the case, and it can go to the Board of Commissioners to make the final decision, which.
And on that motion, since it was a deadlock, I guess, or what, would I be able to vote on that motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll vote to deny.
Okay.
Okay. And that'll carry that on.
So motion carries at that point to deny.
Okay. All right, so let's, please call the next case.
CU 2411, Remigius Adewar of Ellenwood, Georgia, requests a conditional use for property located at 585 Scarborough Road in land lot 222 of the 12th District. The property consists of .543 plus or minus acres, and the request is for a non-home occupational personal care home. District 2, presented by Heidi Lyhut, Planner 1.
Good evening again, Vice Chair, excuse me, board members and citizens of Henry County. The item before you is for property located at 585 Scarborough Road. The request is for a conditional use to allow for a non-home occupation personal care home. The subject property is shown in your exhibit books and on the overhead projection. This slide shows the aerial view of the property. The current zoning is R2, single-family residence. This is the survey submitted by the applicant. This is a side photo taken of the subject property. The request is for a conditional use to allow for a personal care home. A personal care home is a single-family residence that provides non-medical care for up to 6 non-family adults, including help with daily activities like bathing, dressing, and medication supervision. It does not offer nursing or continuous medical care and is distinct from facilities like nursing homes, halfway houses, or independent living units with kitchens. Section 4.03.19 of the UODC permits non-home occupational personal care homes in all residential zoning districts with conditional use approval and a maximum of 6 clients. A state license is required per OCGA 31-7-12. The applicant intends to make all necessary modifications to meet all applicable codes and regulations. This is a bit of the zoning history. Staff recommends approval of the applicant's request for a conditional use with the following conditions that are displayed on the screen. Thank you, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions.
Does the board have any questions for staff?
Is this property on septic?
Yes, it is. Let me go back. So it is on septic. There is a letter from Environmental Health saying that it can only support a maximum of 5 clients. But we did address on one of the recommendations that the applicant, if it does get approved, they do have to upgrade the current septic system to accommodate those 6 clients.
So that's been addressed, gotcha.
Yes.
And I guess along that line, did they consider with the people, you know, the staff that'll be on property too when they're talking about the septic? Because that could be a lot of volume.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Bim.
So you've got it for 5 with
Yes.
the septic, but did they take into consideration staff will be there at the same time as far as environmental health?
Yes, so they'll have to submit, I believe, the application to Environmental Health for them to go ahead and get approved and so forth. Yes.
Okay.
I have a question. Now, you indicate that they would have to upgrade the system. Does that mean that they would add a new septic or an additional septic?
I believe so, but that would be more of a question to Environmental Health. I'm not too sure if it would be a secondary septic or they would have to expand on it. But Environmental Health will know that answer.
Okay.
Or
Does
either
the
way.
applicant know that answer? Or do you know?
Possibly.
Oh, okay.
And Mr. Risher?
Has there been any report from the health department on what changes might have to be made for the septic system? And then I think there was some mention about transportation. Would the people living here, would they have a van or some kind of a transit system exit?
I believe that that would be answered by the applicant, Mr. Risher.
And is there adequate parking on the property?
Yes, let me go back to the slide.
And considering any staff parking or?
So if they are using a van, there is, I'm not too sure if you can see on the far left-hand side or in the middle, there's kind of like a red car right there, and there's a long driveway that leads to the other adjacent street. So if they are using a van, again, I believe the applicant can answer to that, they do have adequate space.
Okay. We're good for now. All right. If no more questions for staff, would the applicant please come forward and state your name and address?
My name is Remigius E. Daiwo, African. I live at 2705 Easy Street, Hampton, Georgia.
Okay. And please let us know what you want
Yes,
us to know.
I'm requesting for this property to be zoned for personal care to enable us to take care of the vulnerable amongst us. Some adults, their children are dead or they are away from home and no one to take care of them. And some special needs, their parents are dead and they need support and no one to take care of them. So that's why we have taken it upon ourselves to have a home for these adults. It's going to be about 4 adults and supervised by a caregiver, one caregiver at the time. So like Sheila said, it's going to be 5 per home because it's only 4 rooms in the house. And if you approve this application, it's going to give us the opportunity to serve the underprivileged, the vulnerable, those who are medically free amongst us.
Okay. Anything else at this point? All right. Is there questions from the board?
Yeah. My question, is this property occupied at this point?
It's about to be vacated, yes. Currently, as of today, it's occupied.
Current today is
Yes,
occupied?
yeah.
Now, is
So
this
when, if you approve, then it's going to be vacated.
Okay. Now, are you the owner of the property?
Yes.
Okay. And so it's not a rental property, you're the
No,
owner?
it's not a rental property.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, your tenants or clients, are they disabled?
Some of them are special needs.
Okay.
Yeah, they are adults, more than 21 years old.
Okay. Now, is this property, will it be set up for any type of accessibility, handicap accessibility?
Yes.
And where will that take place?
Yeah, it's already conditioned to, the property was chosen because it already has accessibility features, and that has already been assessed by Department of Community Health, the fire and safety. They have already looked at it and they gave approval for that.
You have approval from the fire department?
Yes.
Okay. You have approval for this property from the fire department?
Yes.
Okay. The staff, do we have that on file?
We don't, but regardless, before they get their business license, they have to go through that approval process again anyway.
Okay. But he's saying that it has been approved.
I can't speak to what he does have, but what he will have to get is approval from staff.
Okay. Well, we do have the fire marshal here.
Yes, sir.
And we'll probably bring him forward to ensure whether that's actually accurate or not. Seemed like I had another question. Now, they've indicated from environmental health that the property will need to be upgraded. Are you aware?
I'm not aware of that because we already got a letter from the Department of Environmental Health that it's okay for 5 people to be there, and we submitted a letter to the office, and they have the letter.
But does that include staff as well? How many people do you plan to keep there?
It's four clients or 4 individuals, 4 adults, plus 1 staff at a time. That is 5 people. As you said, it's approved for 5 people, and they requested that we get a letter from the Bureau of Environmental Health, and we went to the Bureau of Environmental Health. They came out, they looked at it, they reviewed it, and they approved it. And I submitted the approval letter to the office.
Nothing further. Mr. Richard?
Would your clients, would these be adults or children?
No, adults. They are both 21.
I'm
So
sorry,
they
I
are between
didn't-
the age of 21 and 100 or 120, as the case may be.
Or would they be adults living there? Your clients, the four people that would be living there, plus the staff, would they all be adults?
Will they be adults?
They are both 21. So if they are both 21, I think they are adults. And they are so going to be supervised by an adult as a caregiver. As one adult supervising 4 adults, or not always supervising, providing services for 4 adults.
Mr. Richard, did you understand the answer to his question?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so he's saying
There
it's-
would be one adult staff. And then what would be the age range of the occupants that would be cared for?
So, Mr. Richard, I'm sorry, he did say 21 years old to a 99 or 100 years of
Okay.
age.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Richard?
Would there be any excessive noise generated?
Is that?
Would there be any excessive noise generated from the?
No, you will not even know that anybody is there, if not for the fact that the department requires that we have a permit. It's just like a regular community. You don't know that anyone is there. It's a quiet neighborhood. There's no commercial activity there, just like a regular home. It could be very peaceful.
Any further questions for the applicants or staff?
Just one more question. Now, sir, why did you pick this property?
Is that?
Why did you pick this particular property?
It's based on demographics. I'm going to be working for the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. They indicated to me that they have a need for service in that area, and they have not been able to get someone to serve these adults who need care. And if I would be able to help, that was why I came forward to offer assistance.
All right. I've got a question. Is that staff going to be 24 hours a day?
Yes. It's not one staff. It's going to be 3, one staff in the afternoon, one staff in the night. Somebody has to be with them.
Oh. All right. That's it. You can have your seat for now. And if there's anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this, please come forward now. Seeing none, there'll be 10 minutes for people that would wish to speak against this case. And please state your name and address.
Yes, my name is Carol Alexander, and I live at 216 Pine Knoll Court, Ellenwood, Georgia. And I don't really have a fancy answer for this, but I just feel like some of the other residents who were talking about the other property, that our area is just turning into, it's just not what we expected. There's houses in that area that are in the $500,000 price range, and it's turning into like just a dumping ground. And I don't mean it in a bad way, because I do know that there's needs for people who have special needs, but I just don't think that the area, it's a residential area, there's still children in that area, there's schools nearby. I don't know the degree of the clients that they will be serving, but I just I feel like the area is changing too much. I just feel like it's not, our property values are in danger of being declining because of, you know, the different, just like they were saying, the gas stations, you know, all of the things in our area that does not build up the area. And I don't want to be insensitive to the needs of people who have special needs. I want them to have special needs, but I just don't think that the area that we're in, and even this house, I don't know the degree of the special needs of the clients that you will be serving in that house, but it's a split for your house, so you walk in level, then you gotta walk up a level. You're talking about young people in there that's 21 years old, and I mean, I just don't know. And I'm concerned about safety. I'm concerned about property value. I'm just concerned, period, that it's another house on that same street that I believe is I believe that it is a group home as well. I haven't looked it up, but it appears that way because there's a lot of transition there. And I just think it's just too much. I think it's too much. The residents around there, I don't know even if they even know the full ramifications of, you know, the direction that our area is going in. It's just, I don't agree with it. I have nothing against, you know, I don't have anything against people, you know, trying to make, you know, better for people, because I feel good about that. But I just don't think the area is conducive for that. It's a residential area. We still have children in the area. I mean, it's a school right down the street. Austin Road is about 3 miles down that street that it parallels to where that driveway is off of. There's school buses, there are kids riding bikes, there's a daycare right there on the corner that's about a half a mile from there. I just don't think that's my opinion. I do not feel good about that happening in our neighborhood.
Thank you.
Once again, Mildred Schmelz, 170 Dingscott Court. Board members, I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but did you know that there are actually 2 personal care homes less than a mile from where this proposed personal care home? And I get reports, and I've recently gotten reports of where some of the residents have been robbed and taken advantage of by staff. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen with this one, but we just don't need any more personal care homes or group homes in that area. And I would strongly ask that you vote no for this personal care home.
Again, board members, my name is Karen Jacobs. I live at 163 Chapel Ridge Drive in Allenwood, Georgia. I am particularly concerned about this personal care home because I had some slides. I actually had prepared some PowerPoint slides, but I was told that because of the security of the computer system, I could not transfer them. But this is a map. It shows the personal care home, and it's quite close. The personal care home is quite close to our subdivision. I just want to point that out. And I also expressed some of the same concerns that I had with the group home about we want the right development in our area. I mentioned before that there were new homes selling from $850,000 and up in our subdivision. This is one of the slides I have for you. It pictures a new build in our subdivision that's a pending sale listed at $880,000. This is another pending sale in our subdivision. It's It's listed at $950,000, so nearly $1 million for this home, which is, as I said, it's a pending sale, so someone is buying it. And there are other homes near our community that are also selling at higher values. This one, 269 Gucci Circle, which sold in March of 2025 at a list price of $700,000. I just want to let you know that the work that you do is so very important. And zoning decisions send a message. It sends a message about what is permissible. And please, we implore you, please don't send the message that our community can be a dumping ground for personal care homes and group homes. As I said before, we want the same kind of development in the north that we're seeing in the south. Thank you.
Good evening again. My name is Polly Lawton, 401 Shade Tree Drive, Stockbridge, Georgia. I think, according to reading the OCGA code for Georgia, which the legislative body has voted on, that the community has a right to know what's going into their community. I've seen 2 applicants come up, couldn't give you a clear answer of the age group, of their clientele, what type of patients they're gonna have, and that's not right to the community. If you're gonna vote on something like this, please have clarity. Know what you're going up against, know what you're putting in that area so that you could be welcome and it will be permissible in the area. Also, that is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. He said 5 individual. Most of the homes over there are on septic tank. That house is gonna become like a commercial property. Because of course you wanna house people, especially if you have the heart to help people like that. So I ask you to consider those things. If they can make those things come up to the statutes that are already written, that's something for you to consider. But when they can't come up and give you a clear answer and the governing body has to tell you what age he wants to put in there, I think more homework needs to be done. Thank you.
All right, anyone else want to come up and oppose? All right, in that case, does the board have any further questions for the applicant or staff?
Not the applicant.
Nope. All right, then let's call the case.
Well, I got a question for staff, though.
Oh, you do? I'm sorry.
Sorry. I would like Fire Marshal Michael Black to come up if he could. Yes, sir. Your expertise is fire safety. They're going to sprinkler this property, but...
Well, that was my question to the applicant to clarify. Do they plan on putting sprinklers in the structure?
Is part of this code.
It's part of the code, yes. And a statement earlier, I want to clarify, he said he has fire department approval. Up to this point, any conversation he's had with the office has strictly been a due diligence type, free consultation. We have not approved plans and we've not approved the sprinkler plans. So we still have work to do. There are still codes that apply. We're not opposed per se as long as the code's followed. They are allowed in the RA district and they are limited based on their occupant classification, but we are not through with the process, so approval comes later. So.
And then another fire safety question would be, this is a split level home or split floor home. As he's saying, he's going to have some handicapped in there. This would be, in my opinion, tough, but I'm not the expert. But it would be tough to have handicaps in split level homes. But you can retrofit anything. Is that part of something in your code that we could make sure that the clients that would be there would be safe?
Yes, sir. At that point, they will have a business license and they will be held to state ADA, and between the fire department and the building department, we'll ensure that they have ADA in place. And based on these slides here, they're going to have at least 2 accesses, so they're going to have to do some work. But like I said, that's going to be laid out in the plan review process, which we have not completed.
You haven't touched that yet? Gotcha.
No, it's not completed, so.
No, understand. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further?
Mr. Kolpak, I just want to address, so hypothetically, if it does get approved for this subject property, there is a condition number 4 saying that the home needs to be sprinkled. Just wanted to clarify that.
Well, and I guess for staff, in any case, if we pretty much approve anything, it still has to go through a lot more approval processes and everything to make sure it meets our ULDC and all the
Exactly,
regular
yes, this is
codes.
just the first step. Hypothetically, again, if it does get approved, then the applicant will go ahead and submit their application for a business license, and that's when the process continues and so forth, and inspections from building and fire and et cetera.
And if they don't get it or don't do those things, then they're not going to
Exactly.
have that there. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
One other question. Addressing the people that spoke earlier, when we allow stuff, and we've done it in the area, it kind of makes acceptable standard then. So if we accept this, is there a way, like they've put ordinances on gas stations, amount of gas stations difference, is there a way, if this hypothetically gets approved, that we allow only so many, so that we're not overrunning an area? Because there is a value to this type of product, but we also don't want to have, as someone like just up and down the road, and then it just changes the character of the area.
To address your question, Mr. Kolpak, so within our Unified Land Development Code, personal care homes, they are allowed within all residential zoning districts. So I don't assume or think that per se we can place a cap on it, because that is within our ordinance that it is allowed. Now, if it does, of course, go through the zoning advisory board and it does get approved hypothetically, then they can have it. But that is a requirement that they have to go through the process, like what we're doing right now.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anything further? All right, so let's call the case. Oh, I'm sorry, we're closed for that portion of the.
Call the case. Remedios Adewar of Ellenwood, Georgia, requests a conditional use for property at 585 Scarborough Road and Land Lot 222 of the 12th District. The property consists of .543 plus or minus acres, and the request is for a non-home occupational personal care home, District 2, presented by Heidi Lyhut, Planner 1.
Do I have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to deny the request for conditional use.
And do I have a second?
A second.
All right, any discussion?
Well, no, he made the motion.
Okay, and you want a second?
Yeah.
All right, so if there's no discussion, all in favor? And all opposed? That was 3-1, with Mr. Risher being the one opposed. So
Motion carries.
the motion carries.
All right. Call the next case, please.
RZ 2428, Next Metro Development LLC and HFG Development LLC of Peachtree City, Georgia, requests a rezoning from RA Residential Agricultural to RM Multifamily Residential for property located at 247, 335 and 343 Foster Drive and land lots 81 and 112 of the 6th District. The property consists of 35.97 plus or minus acres, and the request is for a cluster home development. District 4, presented by Kenta Lanham, Planner 3.
Good evening, Vice Chair, board members, and pillars of the Henry County community. The item before you is for property located north of Foster Drive, consisting of some acreage that is 35.97, I want to make sure my notes are correct, 35.97 plus or minus acres. Property is currently zoned RA, residential agricultural, with a future land use map designation of urban residential supporting between 4 and 12 dwelling units per acre net. Here, this is the zoning of that RA, that future land use map designation of urban residential. Here is the original site plan that was submitted with the application. We see both entrances off of Foster Drive, and here is an updated site plan, one that shows an entrance off Foster Drive and one off Kendra Drive. The applicant is requesting to rezone from RA, residential agricultural, to RM, multifamily residential, for a gated horizontal multifamily development. Site plan indicates 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. Amenities include a resort style pool, pavilion, dog parks, and pocket parks. This new site plan shows that increased green space and connectivity compared to the previous site plan. And again, that second entrance off of Kendra Drive. Here are some elevations that were submitted with the application. The attached units that you saw, those are the 1 bedroom. Detached are for the 2 and 3 bedroom. Here are some comments that we received from various departments as part of staff's evaluation. Applicant is requesting to rezone from RA to RM for the purpose of that horizontal multifamily development for a total of 254 units with 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms with a density of 9.2 dwelling units per acre net. The property is, as a horizontal multifamily development, would need to be gated, and it would need to comply with those multifamily design standards. Due to the number of units proposed, a traffic impact study would be required prior to permit application. That traffic impact study would identify improvements to Foster Drive or maybe surrounding intersections that would be needed to support the request here. And as I want to note that as we progress through the rezoning process, we do anticipate some minor modifications to the changes, to the conditions and elevations before taking it to the Board of Commissioners. Existing developments in the area do include some multifamily developments with a rental townhome development across from Foster Drive. Buffer requirements of the ULDC and development review from erosion control and stormwater are in place in the event this does get approved. And those are in place to protect our waterways and the adjacent Walnut Creek. In conversations with the SPLOST department, widening of Foster Drive is anticipated for the future, and staff will continue to work with the applicant team to ensure that future widening is considered and addressed via conditions. With all that being said, staff does recommend approval of the applicant's request to rezone the property from RA to RM with the conditions shown on the screen. Some of the conditions had minor changes in red, which I will showcase here. Removal of that language on condition 12, the mailbox kiosk will be a little more centrally located, I believe, along that pavilion space next to that resort style pool, so a drive-through would not be necessary for that design. Wanted to provide clarification as far as the dog park. Previously it was mentioned, conditioned to be enclosed. We wanted to mention fenced just for clarification. And condition 15 here, pool and pavilion amenities shall be provided and built by 50% of the units having COs. The other amenities, largely those park spaces, are going to be implemented as they phase the plan, developed as they go. I would like to add that with the submission of the newest site plan that was shown, it just adds some additional details, namely the heated floor space for the bedrooms. So with that, staff would like to add the condition that the heated floor space to be shown as according to the site plan, 690 minimum heated floor space for one bedroom, 984 square feet for two bedroom, and 1,265 square feet for three bedroom units. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions you might have.
Does the board have questions for staff? Okay. If not, will the applicant please come forward? Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is John Jordan. I'm with Hecht Walker Jordan, PC. We're at 205 Corporate Center Drive, Suite B, Stockbridge, Georgia, 30281. We represent Next Metro Development LLC and HFG Development LLC, who are the applicants for this item. Next Metro is the parent company for Avila Homes, which develops and operates private, upscale, single-family home rental communities throughout the United States with first-class amenities and concierge living. Their communities cater to residents looking for the flexibility and freedom of a lease, but they also want to enjoy the privacy and other benefits of single-family home living. They just don't want the responsibility that comes with actual home ownership. It's important to understand that Avila residents are renters by choice. They have the financial means to buy a home, but they just don't want to be homeowners at whatever stage in life that they're in. Additionally, the majority of residents that our client sees in their communities are professional millennials, midlife singles, dual income couples, and empty nesters. These residents typically have an average household income of $132,000 or more. Nationwide, according to Avila's data, approximately 60% of their residents in their communities are ages 35 and up, and only 20% of these households have children. We believe that there is a demand for this type of product in Henry County. There really isn't anything like it in this area, and that this is an ideal spot for this type of community. As far as the property itself, the property is made up of 3 parcels right up here for a total approximate acreage of 36 acres. However, as you can see in the back here, there's a lot of undevelopable property. And so probably at least 15 acres will be left undisturbed on the northern end. So the whole site will not be used for this project. The property is located off of Foster Drive near the intersection with Kendra Drive and around the corner from, I'm sure many of you are aware, the Regal Cinemas and the LA Fitness, which is our ideal for multifamily developments as well. It is also located near the variety of restaurants and stores along Jonesboro Road and of course 75 as well. Traditional multifamily developments have already been approved and developed in this area, including apartment complexes and just most recently a townhome rental community. So this would fit in with those developments, but this would be a different type of product. This would be a more elevated experience for its residents. This is, as you can see, the intersection with Foster Drive and Jonesboro Road. A little further up in the background is the Tapestry Overbrook apartment complex. This is a closer look at the apartment complex. This is the Rosemore Townhome Rental Community near the subject property. And just around the corner, of course, is the LA Fitness and the Regal Cinemas. As far as the zoning for this property, the future land use map for the county has designated it as urban residential, which does permit and calls for residential development between 4 and 12 dwelling units per acre. We're essentially right in the middle of that density, and so we fit perfectly within the future land use plan. The zoning currently has not kept up with the flume, unfortunately. It is residential agricultural, and so with our request to rezone this to multifamily, that would actually bring this into conformity with the future land use plan. Additionally, the county's 2045 comprehensive plan has designated this property area within the Central District Development and Infrastructure Strategy area. And according to that particular strategy area, it's intended to accommodate recent and anticipated higher intensity development. While land uses such as urban residential, which what we would fall and be consistent with, are listed specifically as appropriate, and this doesn't really work that well, but you can see it's listed as appropriate on the chart in the comprehensive plan. What's not appropriate are these lesser dense developments. You can see not appropriate would be rural residential and low density suburban, which is essentially what it's zoned for right now. This would also bring the zoning into conformity with this strategy plan as well. As far as the development itself, it will be a fully gated community with the primary entrance off of Foster Drive and a secondary entrance off of Kendra Drive. It will have single-story cottage-style rental units offering 1, 2, and 3 bedroom options. There'll be approximately 170 detached cottage units for the 2 and 3 bedroom options. The 1 bedroom options would be in duplex cottage units and with 2 units per each duplex unit. One of the things that we are really excited about for this project is the centralized green space there. There's quite a bit of usable green space, which is meant to funnel the activity from the development through those green spaces to make it more of a communal living environment. Additionally, most of the parking will be free, of course, on the streets. However, there's plenty of covered parking available for lease by residents who want that covered parking. And you can see in the purple along the roads there, those are those covered parking units that would be made available. As far as each unit, the development, one unique thing about this development as well is that each unit will have its own private backyard. That's one of the single-family living lifestyle things that people look for, and it'll be offered here as well. There'll also be, the cottages also have 10-foot ceilings and high-end finishes for a truly luxury experience. We've put together a video that I'd like to share with the board that gives you an idea of the type of development that we're proposing for this site. an upper-end quality rental community experience for residents to be able to have that single-family home without being locked in to a mortgage and the responsibilities of a home. We greatly appreciate staff's recommendation for approval for this item, and we would greatly appreciate your vote to recommend approval as well. And with that, glad to take any questions.
Does the board have questions for the applicant?
One quick question. One thing that I didn't see there, what are the price points of the, potential price points of these homes?
Sure. Sean Rust with Next Metro is here and probably can get to the price points for you.
Good evening. Sean Rust, Peachtree City, 270 Turnbridge Circle. Potential price points are the one bedrooms are around $1,800, the two bedrooms are around $2,200, and the three bedrooms are around $2,450.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay, well, you may be seated, sir. We have 14 seconds for anyone wishing to speak in favor. 14 seconds for anyone wishing to speak in favor. Okay. At this time, we'd like to allot 10 minutes for anyone wishing to speak in opposition. There's a total of 10 minutes, so you must share that 10-minute slot.
Good evening. My name is Connie Snow, and I'm with Conserve Henry. I'm actually a victim of a Next Metro development. My whole neighborhood has actually been completely, in my opinion, destroyed due to the one that they just started. Some damages or issues that we're seeing with this is, first of all, they clear-cut the forest. I'm glad they're leaving a little bit of trees so nobody has to suffer from what we're going through right now. Due to this development, though, and the poorly planned water infrastructure we have, there's tons of runoff heading into my backyard and through my natural grate, which is now murky and gross looking, and I'm pretty sure possibly polluted. I have a sinkhole in my yard due to that as well. And while I know they've been working with some of my neighbors, I have had some complaints from other neighbors where they felt a little intimidated and forced into getting more of their property taken for sewer rights. That's just what was told to me. I also want to point out that this is close to a failing school district. It's one of the top ones, I do believe. I don't know if you guys are aware, but last week, Eagles Landing High School was put on an internal lockdown. And when I say internal lockdown, I'm not talking about it was mandated by the police or through a shooting, but I actually spoke to the school staff there asking what's going on, and I was told for the rest of the year the students wouldn't be allowed to go to lunch, they would need to eat into their classrooms, and they would need to be escorted through the building due to too many complaints and issues with sex in the classroom, smoking marijuana, cigarettes, and fights. It is not a secret here that we have over 27 failing schools in our systems, and let's not forget that this week 17 people were arrested for sex trafficking. So we've got problems. I also want to point out that on the EPD, it shows that there has been several violations for water pollution in the Henry County water system. Adding this is going to create more of a problem. We do not need any more renters. While they have an extremely high price point, that is not the price point that's going to fit for this area. And what's going to happen is we are going to turn into other counties that we don't want to be like Clayton. So I'm asking that you guys do not approve this. Like I said, we have it, our infrastructure's crumbling. I mean, 17 people being arrested for sex trafficking, and we're going to bring in more renters. That increases our problem. I hope you guys deny this.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Angie Collins, Crystal Lake Golf and Country Club Community. I am concerned about this area just turning into so many different rentals. We just approved a townhome rent property, but prior to that, that area was really a respectful area that had a lot of nice homes. And it's unfortunate that these out-of-town builders are coming in here purely for profit. When you think about a rental property, in the beginning it does look nice. The video he showed was very nice. However, I haven't verified this, but it's my understanding after the company that's the parent company does sell all of the units, they tend to sell it. And units that are rentals, they just don't have the same kind of value. Some of the concerns that I have are in an area like that, which is a pretty nice, calm street, the noise. there's a higher traffic when you have rentals. I'm sorry, a higher turnover when you have rentals. There's the traffic in the area. Now, we all know if you live anywhere close to Jonesboro, it is like sardines packed in there. You can't get on the interstate. You wonder if there's an accident. There's no accident. It's just traffic. When you're looking at potentially 250 more units, okay, most of them may not have kids, is what he's saying, but you have no way of knowing that. Our school system has just been pointing out that we're struggling. And in an area like that, we have to draw a line at some point in the sand. And I think an area like this doesn't add value for the people that already live there and own homes. It takes away value. So we're drowning in rentals as it is. And for this reason, I hope that you all do vote no. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Phaedra Thomas. Being that I'm law enforcement, I will not disclose my address.
Excuse me?
Say again?
For the record, ma'am?
I'm law enforcement, so I
Okay.
can't disclose my address.
Okay.
All right. So here we are again with these developers. Henry County has become a playground for developers. Another proposal, another mediocre development. I understand what he's saying with our seniors, but we are saturated with seniors. Jonesboro Road, I stay in the midst of Jonesboro Road. I was late getting here because of the traffic on 75, and then I got on Jonesboro Road with traffic. We come here on a monthly basis with our concerns, and you always continue to favor these developers. We live here, they don't. They come from the outside to make profits, as this young lady said prior to me. He scrolled through those videos so fast, and I did notice on the slide that it said that they would need 2 additional police officers to service that area, but we're already short-staffed with the county. The hospital here in Henry County serves over 260 residents, and that's not including the people that are neighboring counties. You're making more routes for already short-staffed bus service. Let me see. I had to jot this down because I was real quick. And I have 4 developments around my community right now that they're working on. That you all just approved 2 more, and now we're here with a pending developer. That's crazy. There's not enough traffic study that you all can do to accommodate this traffic on Jonesboro Road. You just continue to allow these developers to just build, and then they don't have to sit in this. And due to the influx of people and traffic, and an already overdevelopment road, I humbly ask that you all deny that request.
Hello, my name is Navin Patel. My address is 375 Foster Drive, across the street from this property, their building. We have already approved, you guys approved 2 other development right there in the same road, has not even developed yet. And the traffic is backed up every day, and unreal. So I don't think you should approve this, in my opinion, but it's ridiculous.
My name is Scott Coggeshall. I live at 120 Fox Run Court in Fox Run subdivision, which is just behind Nevin's house, basically. I've got 5 acres there, Nevin has 7. And these developments that you guys are approving, you're taking away our night sky. We have no night no more. It's daylight all the time. The creek, the water, everything in our area is changing. Our whole subdivision is on wells. And the creek now, when it rains, the creek comes up. Henry County is coming through, and they're putting a new sewer line along the creek. A new sewer line because of all these developments that's having to be put in. The new sewer line is actually in the wetlands. All these wetlands that these guys here are not disturbing this whole area is just getting changed. And I'm afraid our water's gonna get messed up from this because we don't have an option for city water. We don't have gas. We have electricity and wells and septic tanks in our neighborhood, in our subdivision. Now, I think one of the key things that this guy said is rezoning. It's unfortunate that this was still zoned RA. No, it wasn't unfortunate. There was 3 families that lived there for a long time. I knew them. They had almost 40 acres between themselves, and they all were good people. And now you're talking about packing something like this in with more cops. We've had shootings at the Quick Trip. You guys approved apartments that there's just, I mean, the apartments aren't full. The townhomes are not full. We don't need these developments. What we need is somebody to rescue the people that live there. And that's supposed to be you guys. You're supposed to be looking out for the people. And I don't feel that you are. Because approving things like this is a joke. And staff don't live around there. I know you don't live near me. Sorry.
Yeah, I live at 368 Foster Drive, and we don't need another rental properties around us. It was a peaceful neighborhood while back, and now the apartment rental complexes, and now there you go, some more rental. I don't think so. You should approve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, board members. My name is Victor Kagwe. I live on 953 Nevis Way, right in Annenberg subdivision. Lived there 9 years, and I'm here to express my strong opposition for the proposed rezoning of these 3 properties. The current zoning allows for residential, agricultural, single-family homes, and that's what's compatible with the neighborhood that we live in. The proposed cluster home development would lead to increased traffic congestion, as mentioned, strain to infrastructure, and potential impact to a school enrollment. We've seen rapid growth, and it's putting a strain to the school system, it's putting a strain to the hospitals and to the transportation system. Similar rental property, Tapestry Overlook that he mentioned on Foster Drive, just opened last year. It's already dilapidated. The sign is
Richard, I'm
missing
gonna have to
letters.
cut you off. We're beyond our 10 minutes now, but we do get your point. Thank you so much.
Does he know what dense means? That means
Uh,
numerous.
Ma'am,
Let everybody kind of.
ma'am, ma'am,
I'm
ma'am.
gonna stop, but I just.
Thank you, thank you. All right. Does the board have questions for the applicant or staff?
I got it for staff.
Staff, okay. That's good.
Michael Black, can you come up, please? Off of this board here, for a fire truck to get back to somebody's back units, is there enough accessibility for you?
Yes, sir. There are codes that'll dictate the number of, at least minimum or 2 exits based on the number of units in there, and it has to meet remoteness. So we will absolutely take a look at that, as well as the width of the streets and the entrances, as well as the gates. The gates have to meet certain specifications according to the fire code. So all that will be covered during the plan review process, but this is not far from some of the other developments we've seen in the past, so.
And then the 10-foot space between the properties, is that,
Yes.
I know it's past the state code, but in your professional opinion, in Henry County's code, is that acceptable, or do we need to have a firewall between units?
But these are individual units, so that's also controlled by building and planning and zoning. So yes, it is acceptable.
Well, there's some duplexes in there, that's why I ask.
Yeah, that'll be taken a look at, yeah. And there's firewall construction already in the code for that, to address that.
Okay, so the guys they will be able to do their job safely?
Yeah, the concerns we have aren't the same for townhomes. So like I said, all that'll be covered in the plan review, as well as with the building department, so, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Does the board have additional questions? Mr. Risher?
Yeah, this is a question for staff. I'm just, of course, there's been a number of higher density apartments that have been built along Foster Drive in recent years. And, what has been the effect of the traffic on Foster Drive in terms of volumes or and I guess for the developers, did they consider perhaps a subdivision layout, something along the lines of what have been recently in that area rather than, something this dense?
I cannot speak to what the applicant has or has not considered for the site. I will leave the applicant team to answer that question. I will say that the comprehensive plan, 2045 plan, does designate the area as that urban residential between 4 to 12 dwelling units per acre. So a rezoning for a low density subdivision, for example, would not be supported by the current comprehensive plan.
And again, there's a floodplain that goes through there, and of course, I think that's Walnut Creek, which is the main water source for the city of McDonough.
Yes, that is correct. So there is some substantial floodplain on that north end, which is why the applicant team, why the site plan does not show some of those homes close to that northern property line. In the event of an approval from this Board of Commissioners, obviously the development would need to meet any conditions that are placed on the property, but when it comes time for permitting, the Stormwater Department, the Erosion Control Department, they're going to be reviewing these plans to ensure that everything is met.
Any additional questions from the board?
I got another one.
Mr. Walker?
So there were some comments made, and I've got emails about the adjoining their other development in Henry County. There's some issues there that they're having. Are you aware of any of those issues, and what is being done to be addressed if you are?
The development that I believe is in question is within the city limits of Stockbridge. I wouldn't be able to comment much more on that.
Okay. Okay. I'm just asking that question. It's a different jurisdiction.
Mr. Kopach, will you, hold on one second. Let's do one thing that we have to address here. We can't have any outbursts when we're speaking here. We're set to a time, and we need to adhere to that, and the outbursts cut against that. So let's stick to the agenda that we have here, please. Okay.
That's just something I wanted to take in consideration if there's other issues with them in another development in our area. But if you don't know about it, then maybe we need to take some time to check that out.
Okay. Does the board have additional questions for the applicant or staff?
Guess I could ask the applicant.
I'm sorry.
Can I ask that applicant the
Sure,
question?
sure. Come forward.
Good evening again. So we always strive to be a good neighbor, and that's what I love about working at Next Metro. I don't have to worry about always doing the right thing. We did have to put a sewer manhole in the side yard of a neighbor that is in a public easement. We met with that neighbor. We are lowering the manhole so that the yard is livable and playable for their children. Miss Snow's issue I've not heard of before tonight. We've worked with multiple property owners along our boundaries to talk about what type of fence they want and what type of buffer, what type of trees. So I feel like we are going above and beyond to be good neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions from the board to staff or the applicant? Yeah, if not, call the case, please.
RZ 2428, Next Metro Development LLC and HFG Development LLC of Peachtree City, Georgia, requests a rezoning from RA Residential Agricultural to RM Multifamily Residential for property located at 247, 335, and 343 Foster Drive in land lots 81 and 112 of the 6th District. The property consists of 35.97 plus or minus acres, and the request is for a cluster home development. District 4, presented by Kenta Lana, Planner 3.
Okay, we've heard the case. Do we have a motion?
Have a motion? Motion to approve?
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Kolpak. Do we have a second?
I want to make some more additions to that motion.
Okay. All right, you have a second by Mr. Richard. Discussion?
Would like to make sure that they follow all the codes that staff has recommended, and also work on the right-of-way widening as Foster Drive will be needed to have it, to see if the developer will make sure they work with us so that we get the right-of-way widening. So it doesn't impact the community after it's built.
Okay. And to add to that, staff will continue that conversation with SPLOST to determine what that potential additional right-of-way would be required. With that being said, I wanted to be clear that staff did recommend an additional condition regarding the square footage for the units. Is that something that was made part of your motion?
Yes, all the conditions from staff. And then my extra was adding in the right-of-way widening if they donate that right-of-way to it, but they also make sure that we plan that this road will be extended.
Okay.
Staff is clear, thank you.
Okay. And Mr. Richard, are you clear in terms of his motion?
Yes.
Okay, and you're in agreement with that motion, correct? Mr. Richard? You're in agreement with that motion?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. All right. We have any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. All opposed? I have it. Motion carries unanimous. I'm sorry, 3-1.
Thank you.
Call the next case, please.
RZ-24-18, JMP Synergy LLC of McDonough, Georgia, requests a rezoning from RA Residential Agricultural to MU Mixed Use for property located at 1099 Airline Road in Land Lot 74 of the 7th District. The property consists of 1.605 plus or minus acres, and the request is for a commercial office. District 3, presented by Alexius Jones, Planner 1.
Good evening, Vice Chair, board members, and citizens of Henry County. The item before you is for property located at 1099 Airline Road. The property consists of 1.605 plus or minus acres, and the request is for the use of an office space. The subject property is shown in your exhibit books and on the overhead projection. This slide shows the aerial view of the property. The property is currently zoned RA, Residential Agricultural. The future land use designation of the property is commercial. This is a site plan submitted by the applicant. The intention is to use the existing structure for the office. These are some comments received by Henry County Water Authority and Henry County DOT. The applicant is requesting to rezone the subject property from RA Residential Agricultural to MU Mixed Use for the purpose of operating an office space. While the proposed use of an office space is consistent with the area's commercial flume designation, the requested mixed-use zoning is not. Given that an office use is allowed under C1 neighborhood commercial zoning without needing to amend the flume, staff recommends denial of the mixed-use zoning request and instead recommends approval of the rezoning to C1 commercial, subject to the conditions shown on the screen. Thank you, and I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Does the board have questions for staff? Okay. If not, I'm sorry, Mr. Richard?
Yes, I have a question. The property that adjoins this tract to the, I guess to the north of it, it went through a rezoning by this board and then also by the commissioners. And I think that it was approved as a mixed use with, I think, C2 and C3 zoning, if I recall. Is that?
Yes, so the adjacent property is currently zoned mixed use. I believe the proposal at that time includes commercial designation as well as some residential in the southern portion.
Okay. Going through some of my papers, I found the site plan that was approved, and maybe you could put this on the board to, show that to the rest of the board as to what was approved. And so the subject property is right next, to it.
And Alexius, can you point out what the subject property for today's case?
So on that northern portion, I believe that is a commercial strip proposed. On the western portion, I believe there was originally proposed a self-storage facility. And then again, on that southern portion of the property, I believe that was proposed residential.
Any additional questions, Mr. Richard?
No, not right now.
Okay. Any further questions for our staff? All right. If not, we'd like the applicant to come forward. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm Brian Strickland. I'm with Smith Welch Webb & White, 2200 Keys Ferry Court, McDonough, here on behalf of the applicant. And as was shown, we originally applied looking at the mixed use. That's because that's how the rest of the property around that was done with the different commercial usage there. But we agreed that the C1 meets what the purpose is. This was a residence that was in the middle of this commercial development. The owner of that residence decided to stay there and not sell at the time. And they now have since sold the property. And JMP Synergy, that did the original rezoning of the rest of the tracts, is wanting to leave the structure in place and use it as a commercial office. And this would be the type of permitted use that you have under C1, which the goal here is a professional type office that they put inside this existing structure. Happy to take any questions. As was mentioned, without it being mixed use, it is consistent with the comprehensive land use map for commercial usage as well.
Okay. Does the board have questions for the applicant? Mr. Richard?
Is there going to be anything done to the house that's on this property that's I guess 4 acres? Is there any additions or any kind of interior changes or anything like that?
Nothing exterior is planned currently, and as was mentioned, if there are exterior changes, one of the conditions is addressed here to make sure it complies with the highway overlay district that would be applicable. But the current plan is to leave the structure as is. I think there'll be some modifications on the inside. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house, currently 2,100 square feet. And so there may be some modifications internally with the walls, but nothing externally is planned outside of potentially a driveway that would connect to Airline Road. Currently, the driveway goes up to the highway going north, but that goes straight through where the commercial development is planned. There's an easement that allows that usage, but once that development is completed to the north, the plan would be to have a driveway that connects to Airline Road.
Is there going to be any use of that paved apron that comes off of Airline Road?
That is the plan, and we would have to meet Department of Transportation rules when it comes to the driveway off Airline Road, but the plan would be to, as you mentioned, there currently is a drive there that's not being utilized that could be used.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? If not, you may be seated, sir.
Thank you.
We'd like to allot the remainder of the time for anyone wishing to speak in favor. I don't see anyone coming forward. We'd also like to allot 10 minutes for anyone wishing to speak in opposition. Please state your name and address for the record, sir.
Stephen Skaken, 1085 Turner Church Road.
Okay.
About 300 yards up the creek from this particular location. Worried about the creek, and we already have building coming in with neighborhoods all along Calves Creek, which is this property totally backs up to on the commercial side, or has already been zoned commercial, and hoping that by not getting this allowed, might be able to get back into residential agricultural and not commercial in an area that is already full of a lot of neighborhoods along the creek. Protect the waterways.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
We have approximately 9 minutes for anyone else wishing to speak in opposition. I don't see anyone coming forward. Do we have additional questions for staff or the applicant? Okay. No further questions. Call the case, please.
RZ-24-18, JMP Synergy LLC of McDonough, Georgia, requests a rezoning from RA Residential Agricultural to MU Mixed Use for property located at 1099 Airline Road in Land Lot 74 of the 7th District. The property consists of 1.605 plus or minus acres, and the request is for a commercial office. District 3, presented by Alexius Jones, Planner 1.
Okay. We've heard the case. Do we have a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to rezone the property from RA to C1 commercial.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries unanimous.
And I just want to clarify, that is approval to C1 with staff's conditions?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We didn't emphasize that, but if he's approving, we definitely add on staff condition. Call the next case, please.
These next two cases are associated. Comp AM 2408, Capstone Communities of Birmingham, Alabama, requests an amendment to the comprehensive plan for property located east of Highway 155 South and Pelagus Park Road in land lots 210, 211, 238, and 239 of the 2nd District. The property consists of 28.99 plus or minus acres, and the request is to amend the future land use map designation from industrial to urban residential, District 1, presented by Faith Akuta, Planner 1. The next case is RZ-24-32, Capstone Communities of Birmingham, Alabama, requests a rezoning from PD Planned Development to RM Residential Multifamily for property located east of Highway 155 South and Prologus Park Road in land lots 210, 211, 238, and 239 of the Second District. The property consists of 28.99 plus or minus acres, and the request is for a multifamily residential development. District 1, presented by Faith Akuta, Planner 1.
Good evening, Vice Chair and board members and citizens of Henry County. The two requests before you are for the property located east of Highway 155 South and Polaris Park Road in land lots 210, 211, 238, and 239 of the Second District. The property is currently zoned PD, Planned Development, and has a future land use designation of industrial. The current aerial and zoning maps show the subject property outlined in green with the future land use designation of industrial, which does not support the applicant's rezoning request. Here's a survey provided by the applicant dated January 22nd, 2024. The subject property is part of the Eaglesbrook Planned Development, originally rezoned in 2000 from RA to PD with commercial, industrial, and residential pods. The subject property is currently zoned PD with underlying neighborhood commercial, C1, and light manufacturing, M1 designations. The applicant is requesting to rezone 28.99 plus or minus acres from C1 and M1 to RM multifamily to develop a 300-unit rental community featuring townhomes, cottages, manor houses, and lofts, along with the clubhouse and maintenance building. The property lies within a highway corridor overlay district requiring compliance with the overlay district standards and multifamily design standards. The future land use map currently designates the property as industrial, which does not support the residential use. A comprehensive plan amendment has been submitted concurrently to change the designation to urban residential, which allows for 4 to 12 dwelling units per acre net. Here we have colored elevations of the proposed products featuring townhomes, cottages, manor homes, and lofts. Here are a few comments from additional county departments that were used as a part of staff's evaluation. And here's a summary of the applicant's request. After evaluating the applicant's request, staff recommends denial of the proposed comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map designation from industrial to urban residential. Additionally, staff recommends denial of the request to rezone the subject property from PD Planned Development to RM multifamily. And with that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Okay. Does the board have questions for staff? Not at this time. Okay. I have one question. Any particular reason why staff chose to deny it?
Yes, with this product being heavily dense in this particular area and also not supported by the future land use designation, staff did choose to stick with the flume and deny this request.
Okay. Now, was any studies done in terms of schools or the infrastructure in terms of fire protection or police protection?
Yes, we did receive comments from various departments for this particular request. They're listed in the packet as well as on the overhead screen.
Thank you. Any additional questions for staff? Okay, if not, we'd like the applicant to come forward. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, board members. My name is Michelle McCauley. I work with Gaskins LaCroix. We're located at 3475 Corporate Way in Duluth, Georgia. It's my pleasure to be before you this evening.
Thank you.
I do have a presentation that staff will bring up. Thank you very much. Yeah, great. Thank you so much. I'm here tonight on behalf of our client, Capstone Communities. As Faith has mentioned, we are here tonight for two concurrent cases, a comprehensive land use map amendment that currently the property is shown as industrial, and we're asking for an urban residential designation. This is associated with our rezoning request from the PD to RM zoning district. This is going to be a few slides here that basically go through what Ms. Akuta said for, but this is the property here, shown outlined in blue in an aerial image. You can see that we are just to the north of Bill Gardner Parkway. We are adjacent to a new industrial building that has actually just been constructed to the north here, and we're across the street from the Home Depot Distribution Center. Here is the zoning map showing with the property. Again, you can see that this property, especially on this map, you can see how it's constrained in size. It's very narrow and has a pinch point, which makes it very difficult for development of an industrial property on this site. Here is your future land use designation. The property, as Ms. Akuta said, is designated as industrial. In the county's comprehensive plan, there is a development infrastructure and strategy area map. This property is designated as workforce center, as you can see here. In the comprehensive plan, appropriation land uses in this workplace center or workforce center is urban residential. And as mentioned previously, this urban residential category calls for densities of 4 to 12 dwelling units to the acre. Additionally, also listed in the comprehensive plan, it specifically says that the county is looking for ways to provide a housing diversity for their residents and calling for higher density residentials in areas where people live and work so that they can have shorter commutes. We feel that this property and what we're proposing tonight is consistent with this goal for the county and will add to the diversity of housing options for people living and working in this portion of the county. Here is a black and white rendering of our subject site. I do want to call out something very specific. After we received the staff report, we've had conversations with Mr. Kirk and his team. On our site plan, we showed a net density of 30 units to the acre. That was calculated on information that was incorrect. Our actual net density is 11.7, which brings us into an alignment with the urban residential land use category. In conversations yesterday with Mr. Kirk, he said that we would go forward and work on that as we move from the ZAB to the Board of Commissioners. So I do want to point that out. Here's a color rendering of our site plan. You can see that these residents will be living in a neo-traditionally designed community. They have walkways and pathways. There will be 1-bedroom lofts, 2-bedroom units, and the most intense unit is a 12-unit manor house. Here's an amenity package. This home will, this community will have an amenity with a clubhouse, a resort-style pool, a fitness center that will be open for all residents of the community. This is going to be a high-end, upper market residential multifamily community. With that comes the common area maintenance, common area management. There will be someone on site. I'm going to go through and show some of the same elevations that were just shown, but this is a 1-bedroom carriage home. As you can see in this floor plan, this future resident will have a covered front porch and have access to a private garage on the first floor. Here's some 1-bedroom cottages. These homeowners or future residents will have the ability to have private backyards. So they're living in a rental community, but they have the actions and the benefits of living in a single-family detached home. Here's a 2-bedroom townhouse. And then the most intense project that in the community would be a 12-unit manor house. This is what it looks like in drawn view, and here's what it looks like when it's constructed. So still very aesthetically pleasing, very traditional in character. It is upscale and residential. I want to point out something that is in the comprehensive plan that I mentioned earlier. There's a goal to provide a diversity of housing options for future residents and current residents of Henry County. This is multifamily, it's upmarket, it's high-end. It gives a different choice for people who need to rent or who want to rent. Currently, I'm an empty nester. My husband and I live in a rental community, or live in a rental house. It's what we choose to do at this time. It would be nice to see some options for similar sort of housing in Henry County as well. I know there's going to be a lot of questions about what this will look like. I think what's going to be helpful for you as we do, as the previous developer had, we have a video that we'd like to show you. This is a community that Capstone Communities has built. And then after that, if there's any questions, we have representative here from Capstone. We're happy to answer any questions you may have. And then we would reserve any time if there's any rebuttal for any opposition, and we would respectfully ask for your approval. That concludes the presentation for right now. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Does the board have questions for the applicant?
Not at this time.
Is there a way, the rents, that you mentioned, the rents for these units?
Yes, I'll have Mr. Brown from Capstone Communities come up and speak to you to that.
Good evening, everybody. Daniel Brown, Capstone Communities. My address is 2715 Acton Road in Birmingham, Alabama. To answer your question, our one bedrooms average about $1,750. Our two bedrooms are about $2,150, and our three bedrooms are about $2,600.
Any additional questions for the applicant?
Just one quick question. Is this community gated?
That is a requirement of the zoning district, so yeah, the concept plan does not show a gate, but we will be required to do so when we go through the site plan process.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions, we would, you may be seated.
Thank you.
We'd like to allow the remaining of this time for anyone wishing to speak in favor. We have 11 minutes. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? I don't see anyone coming. We'd like to allot 20 minutes for anyone wishing to speak in opposition. Okay. Please state your name and address for the record, ma'am.
My name's Teresa Bruce, 5028 Yankee Doodle Drive, McDonough, Georgia. I wasn't really prepared to address this. I wasn't aware of this particular zoning request, but as previous residents of Henry County have spoke, I don't see how Henry County can continue to sustain the amount of growth that we have seen previously and as it continues. The infrastructure doesn't seem like it's caught up to the growth already with the roads, the hospital, the police, the fire department. And in consideration also, I understand that part of the school ratings come from some of the approvals, like rental properties, apartments, affect school ratings negatively, and Henry County already has very low school ratings, and I feel like that more leasing and leasing and rental properties is just going to decrease our values. And I do live in a residential subdivision, and there is plenty of rental property that is within my subdivision that came about during the recession when they came in and acquired a bunch of property. So there is plenty available in Henry County already. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have 18 minutes. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? I don't see anyone coming forward. Does the board have additional questions for staff or the applicant?
Chair, before we get into the questions, I want to play the video again. For whatever reason, it didn't capture online in our recording, so for the record, I would like to play it one more time.
Okay.
You need to go back. It's before. Doing the black.
Again, does the board have additional questions for staff or the applicant? Mr. Richard?
I guess this is a question for the applicants, but this property that we're looking at tonight, it's kind of wedged in between a heavily traveled highway and a very busy railroad, and I kind of question whether that's a very good environment, for residential, and I think that would be, I think that would be a concern, I guess, no matter what the density.
Okay, let's see. Let's make sure this goes. Thank you for bringing that up, actually, Mr. Richard. So I would like to kind of call out, you are very correct in that this property is uniquely challenged in that it is positioned between a state highway and a rail spur. It's because of this location and the unique shape of this property, which is currently shown as industrial. An industrial user would not be able to build on this property. We feel that because of the workplace center designation and the surrounding work and then there's a commercial node that actually multifamily is an appropriate use here. It provides a transition from lower density residential to the higher density warehouse uses. So we feel like this is a unique property and it is actually well suited for multifamily residential. We also hope that in talks with Mr. Kirk yesterday that based on the recalculation of our net density that we may get a recommendation of approval from staff before the Board of Commissioners. Yeah, go ahead.
Daniel Brown again from Capstone Communities. The rail line that you were referring to, I believe is inactive. It does not go south across Bill Gardner Parkway.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay. Any additional questions for the applicant or staff? Okay, no further questions. Call the case.
Com AM 2408, Capstone Communities of Birmingham, Alabama, requests an amendment to the comprehensive plan for property located east of Highway 155 South and Prologus Park Road in land lots 210, 211, 238, and 239 of the 2nd District. The property consists of 28.99 plus or minus acres, and the request is to amend the future land use map designation from industrial to urban residential. District 1, presented by Faith Akuta, Planner 1.
Okay, you've heard the case. Do we have a motion?
I have a motion to deny.
Okay. All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second by Mr. Richard. Any discussion?
Just a little. This is probably more appropriate uses are the industrial if they do small buildings or commercial. It is on the main highway there. It does, across the highway is more industrial, and to the north it's industrial. To the south, it abuts a village node, which is kind of rural, little areas that there's a Publix there, there's a Kroger going in, and some of that, where then it's out into the rural. So a large, urban residential is what they want to go to, and that's just seems overkill for that area because there's none further south of that, and then north it's quite a ways, and another mile or probably 2 miles to an apartment complex, and then beyond that, there isn't any up until, so even though it could go into the industrial area as urban residential, it should be up towards the McDonough end, not down south at this end of that development.
Okay.
So that's my reasoning for that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
The only discussion I have is it goes against our future land use map, and when we're bound by looking at the future land use map, staying in step with the plan, so.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries unanimous. Call the next case, please.
RZ 2432 Capstone Communities of Birmingham, Alabama requests a rezoning from PD Plan Development to RM Residential Multifamily for property located east of Highway 155 South and Prologus Park Road in land lots 210, 211, 238, and 239 of the 2nd District. The property consists of 28.99 plus or minus acres, and the request is for a multifamily residential development. District 1, presented by Faith Akuta, Planner 1.
Okay, we've heard the case. Do we have a motion?
I move to deny.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
A motion by Mr. Beam, a second by Mr. Richard. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor? Motion carries unanimous. Okay, I believe that concludes our cases for tonight. This meeting is now adjourned.
And I would like to add that the next zoning advisory board meeting is Thursday, July 10th.
Okay, July 10th. All right, thank you.
Thank you.